Marcus Webb stood in line at the coffee shop with exactly $8.32 in his pocket. That was it. Everything he had until Friday's paycheck from his security guard job. 3 days away. He was buying one coffee, $4.50, so he could stay awake for his second shift. The rest would go to gas so he could get to work and pick up his daughter from school. The woman in front of him ordered Grande Caramel Macchiato, extra shot. The barista rang it up. $7.85. The woman opened her wallet, paused. I don't have my credit card. I must have left it at the office. She looked embarrassed. Professional suit, expensive bag, clearly successful, but no way to pay for coffee. The barista shrugged. Sorry, cash only at this register, card reader's broken. Marcus didn't think, just acted. I got it. He handed the barista a $10 bill, money he needed for gas, but this woman needed coffee, and he'd been in embarrassing situations before. The woman turned, surprised. You don't have to. It's just coffee. Have a good day, ma'am. She smiled gratefully. Thank you, really. What's your name? Marcus. I'm Victoria. Thank you, Marcus. This was very kind. He nodded, took his coffee, left. Never learned her last name. Never knew she was Victoria Chen, CEO of Chen Industries, $4.2 billion company. Never knew that 15 minutes later, she'd see his face on the news. And everything would change. Victoria Chen sat in her car, sipping the coffee a stranger bought her, when the radio news came on. Breaking news, local security guard Marcus Webb, 44, has been arrested for armed robbery at First National Bank this morning. Police say Webb, a former Marine, used his security credentials to access the vault during his shift. $250,000 is missing. Webb maintains his innocence, but evidence points to his involvement. He's being held on $100,000 bail. Victoria froze. Marcus, the man who just bought her coffee, with what was probably his last money. That Marcus was arrested for robbery? Something didn't add up. She pulled up the news on her phone, saw his photo. Same man, same kind eyes, same humble demeanor. But the story said he'd robbed a bank where he worked security. Victoria had built a $4.2 billion company by trusting her instincts. And her instincts said, the man who spent his last $10 on a stranger's coffee doesn't rob banks. Something was wrong, and she was going to find out what.
Before we continue, if you enjoy stories that move and transform us, consider subscribing to Becca's Stories. We showcase the beautiful perspectives that emerge from life's changes, offering narratives of profound moral strength and unwavering character. Now, back to our story.
That morning, before the coffee shop, Marcus Webb, 44, former Marine, 2 tours Afghanistan, honorably discharged after roadside bomb killed 2 of his brothers and left him with hearing loss in left ear. Came home at 38 to find wife had filed for divorce while he was deployed. I can't handle your PTSD, she'd written. I'm taking everything except Lily. You can have her. Lily was 4 then, now she's 10. The only good thing Marcus brought back from war. Since discharge, Marcus worked security, first at shopping mall, then hospital, now First National Bank. 2 shifts, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. at bank, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. at apartment complex. 16-hour days, 6 days a week, $42,000 a year total. Barely enough for rent, food, Lily's needs. But it worked. He could pick Lily up from school at 2:30, spend 2 hours with her, drop her with neighbor Mrs. Rodriguez for evening shift, pick her up at 10:30, tuck her in, sleep 4 hours, repeat. Not ideal, but better than foster care. Better than losing her like he'd lost everything else. That morning at First National Bank, Marcus's shift was normal. Greeted customers, monitored cameras, made his rounds. At 8:47 a.m., he took his 15-minute break, walked 3 blocks to coffee shop because bank coffee was terrible. That's when he met Victoria Chen. That's when he spent money he couldn't afford on a stranger's coffee. That's when his life fell apart. Because while Marcus was buying coffee, someone robbed First National Bank, and Marcus was about to be blamed.
Marcus returned to the bank at 9:05 a.m., 18 minutes after his break started. Police were everywhere. Marcus Webb? Yes? You're under arrest for armed robbery. You have the right to remain silent. What? I didn't rob anyone. Vault was accessed using your security code. $250,000 missing. You were on break. You have access. You're coming with us. I was getting coffee. There are cameras at the coffee shop. Tell it to your lawyer. They cuffed him, read his rights, put him in a police car. Marcus's mind raced. Someone used his security code? How? He never shared it, never wrote it down. How could someone access the vault with his code? Unless someone had been watching him enter it. Unless someone had planned this. But who? At the station, they showed him evidence. 1. Security footage gap, 8:50 to 9:03 a.m. Cameras malfunctioned. 2. Vault access log. Marcus's code used at 8:52 a.m. 3. His fingerprints on vault door, because he worked there. 4. No other suspects. 5. He was on break equals opportunity. 6. He was former Marine equals trained in tactics. 7. He was struggling financially equals motive. We know you did it, Marcus. Just confess. Make it easier. I didn't do anything. I was buying coffee. Can anyone verify that? Marcus thought, the woman, Victoria. She'd seen him, but he didn't know her last name, didn't have her number, just knew she worked in an office somewhere. A woman. I bought her coffee. She'll verify I was there. What's her name? Victoria. I don't know her last name. Victoria. In a city of 2 million people. That's helpful. They booked him. Bail set at $100,000. He had $3.82. One phone call. He called Mrs. Rodriguez. Can you pick up Lily from school? I'm in trouble. I'll explain later, but please, take care of her. Of course, mijo. What happened? They think I robbed the bank. I didn't, but I'm stuck here until I can prove it. Lily, 10 years old, about to learn her father was arrested, accused of robbery, all over the news. How do you explain to a child that the world is unjust? That good people get blamed for things they didn't do? That being innocent doesn't protect you? Marcus sat in holding cell, head in hands, wondering if this was how his story ended. Former Marine, single father, working 2 jobs to survive, accused of robbery. No money for bail, no proof of innocence. Just a man who'd bought a stranger's coffee with his last money. And now that kindness felt like his final act before everything fell apart. Chen Industries headquarters, 30 minutes after arrest. Victoria Chen sat in her corner office, unable to focus on quarterly reports. Marcus Webb, the man who bought her coffee, arrested for robbery. It didn't make sense. She called her head of security. Michael, I need you to look into something, quietly. Marcus Webb, arrested this morning for robbery at First National Bank. I want to know everything. Background, evidence, timeline. Everything. Why? Because I met him this morning, and my instincts say he's innocent. You met him? He bought me coffee when my card wasn't working, used what looked like his last money. That man doesn't rob banks, Michael. Someone set him up. I'll look into it. 2 hours later, Michael returned with file. Marcus Webb, 44, Marine, 2 tours Afghanistan, honorably discharged. Works 2 security jobs. Single father, daughter age 10, no criminal record, not even a parking ticket. Financial troubles, but nothing unusual for his income bracket. What's the evidence against him? His security code accessed vault during robbery. He was on break. Cameras malfunctioned during the theft. His fingerprints on vault door. Fingerprints mean nothing. He works there. Security code, though, that's the problem. Right. Only way someone else uses his code is if they saw him enter it or had access to the system. Victoria leaned forward. Who else has access to security systems at that bank? Bank manager, head of security, IT administrator. Pull background on all three and get me security footage from every camera within 2 blocks of that bank during the time of robbery. If Marcus was getting coffee like he says, he'll be on camera. You're really doing this? Investigating for a stranger? He spent his last money on my coffee, Michael. When he had a daughter to feed and bills to pay, that's character. And I don't believe people with that kind of character rob banks. Someone framed him, and I'm going to prove it.
Michael's team worked around the clock. Found 1. Coffee shop footage. Marcus entered at 8:49 a.m., ordered 8:51 a.m., paid 8:54 a.m., bought Victoria's coffee, left 8:56 a.m., walked back to bank, entered 9:05 a.m. Vault access, logged at 8:52 a.m. using Marcus's code, but Marcus was in coffee shop at 8:52 a.m. Impossible for him to be both places. Bank cameras. Malfunction was a manual override from an admin computer. Someone deliberately disabled cameras. IT administrator. Background. Thomas Price, 38, hired 6 months ago. Previous employer? No record. Social security number. Flagged as suspicious. Suddenly rich. Bought new Tesla 3 weeks ago despite $55K salary. Bank manager? Clean. Head of security? Also clean. But hired Thomas Price without proper vetting because we needed someone fast. Victoria called her attorney. I'm posting bail for Marcus Webb, and I need you to file motion to dismiss with this evidence. Victoria, you barely know this man. I know enough. He's innocent. He's sitting in jail while the real thief is out there. Post bail, file motion, do it today. This is going to cost you personally. I don't care. He bought me a $7 coffee with his last money. I can buy him his freezer with mine.
Marcus had been in jail for 52 hours when guard called his name. Marcus Webb, you've been bailed out. What? By who? Doesn't say. Just says you're free to go. For now. Marcus walked out, confused, to find a woman in professional suit. The woman from coffee shop. Victoria? Hi, Marcus. We need to talk. She drove him to her office. Explained everything. The investigation, the evidence, Thomas Price, the frame-up. You did all this for me? You don't even know me. I know you spent your last $10 buying a stranger's coffee. I know you're a single father working 2 jobs. I know you're a Marine who served this country. I know you were accused of something you didn't do. That's enough. Why would Thomas Price frame me? Because you were convenient. Clean record, access to vault, on break at the right time. He used your code, probably installed keylogger on the computer where you enter it, disabled cameras, made it look like you. Then he was going to disappear with the money. Was going to? Police arrested him this morning. He'd already moved $200,000 offshore, but we tracked it. He'll be charged with robbery, fraud, and framing an innocent man. You're clear, Marcus. Marcus started crying. Couldn't help it. 52 hours thinking his life was over. Thinking Lily would grow up with a father in prison. Thinking his service, his sacrifice, his honor, all worthless. I can't thank you enough. You already did. With a cup of coffee. When you had nothing, you helped a stranger. Now I'm helping you. But you're a CEO. You're busy. Why take time for this? Because I built my company on the principle that character matters more than credentials. You showed character in that coffee shop. The kind of character that most people don't have. And when I saw you accused, I knew something was wrong. People like you don't rob banks. They sacrifice for others, even when it costs them everything. What happens now? Now, you go home to your daughter. You sue the bank for false arrest. You get compensation. And, Victoria paused, you consider a job offer. What? Chen Industries needs a head of security. Real security. Someone with integrity. Someone who can't be bought or compromised. Someone who knows honor. Salary, $95,000. Full benefits. Day shift only, so you can be with your daughter. Interested? You're offering me a job. I'm offering you what you earned. Not with the coffee, but with who you are. We've been looking for someone trustworthy for months. Can't find anyone in the industry. Everyone's too connected, too compromised. Then I meet a Marine working 2 shifts to raise his daughter, a man who gives his last money to strangers. That's who I want protecting my company. I don't have corporate experience. You have military experience, leadership, honor, integrity. That's worth more than corporate politics. So, you want the job? Marcus looked at this woman who'd spent 48 hours and probably hundreds of thousands of dollars proving his innocence, who'd bailed him out, who was now offering him a life-changing job. Yes. Thank you. I don't know what to say. Say you'll be at work Monday, 9 a.m. We'll introduce you to the team. Can I ask you something? Anything. Why does it matter so much? I'm just a guy who bought you coffee. Because that just coffee told me everything I needed to know about your character. Most people would have walked past, assumed I could figure it out, kept their money. But you didn't. You saw someone who needed help and you helped. That's rare. That's valuable. That's exactly who I want working for me.
6 months later, Marcus Webb sat in his office at Chen Industries, still strange to have an office with his name on the door, reviewing security protocols. As head of security, he'd transformed the company's approach, implemented integrity testing for all security hires, created veteran hiring program, 12 former military now employed, established protocol preventing false accusations, built the system where character mattered more than credentials. And Chen Industries benefited. Security incidents down 60%. Employee theft nearly zero. Because Marcus hired people like him, people with honor, integrity, people who couldn't be bought. Lily visited after school sometimes, 4th grade now, doing well, smiling again. Dad, you have a big office. I do. And you only work one job now? Yep, just this one. Are you happier? Much happier, sweetheart. Because of the lady you bought coffee for? Because I did the right thing and it turned out to matter. Doesn't always work that way, but this time it did. Miss Victoria is nice. She brought me books last week. Marcus smiled. Victoria had become part of their lives, not intrusively, just present, like family. She'd helped Lily get into better school, paid first-year tuition as signing bonus, invited them to family events, treated Marcus not as employee, but as equal. She's very nice, and we owe her everything. She says she owes you because you bought her coffee when you didn't have to. That's just being decent, Lily. She says decent is rare, and we should always be decent even when it's hard. Is that true? Yes, sweetheart, that's very true. Victoria stopped by Marcus's office later that day. Marcus, got a minute? Always. What's up? Board meeting tomorrow. I'm proposing expansion of veteran hiring initiative. Want to hire 50 more veterans across all departments, not just security, accounting, IT, management, everything. And I'm crediting you as the architect of the program. Victoria, that's your program. No, it's yours. You showed me that veterans like you, honorable, reliable, trained in discipline and leadership, are exactly who we should be hiring. Not because it's charity, because it's smart business. How's it going? Turnover is down 40%.
Productivity up 25%. Employee satisfaction highest in company history. Turns out hiring people with integrity matters. Who knew? You knew, and you taught me. I bought you coffee, Victoria. That's it. No, you showed me that character reveals itself in small moments. How someone treats a stranger says more than any resume. You were kind when you had nothing. That told me everything I needed to know. I was just doing what felt right. Exactly. Most people don't do what feels right. They do what benefits them. You did what was right even when it cost you. That's rare. That's why I investigated. That's why I hired you. That's why this company is better now. You saved my life, Victoria. You saved mine first. I was so busy building empire, I'd forgotten why it mattered. Then a stranger spent his last money on my coffee, reminded me that success isn't about profit. It's about treating people right, building something that values character, creating a culture where good people thrive. One coffee did all that? One coffee from the right person, yes.
1 year after the coffee. Marcus stood in the same coffee shop, same time, buying coffee before work. But now he wasn't counting dollars, wasn't choosing between coffee and gas, wasn't worried about making it to Friday. He had $95,000 salary, benefits, savings, stability, Lily in good school, apartment in safe neighborhood, life rebuilt. Woman in front of him ordered coffee, reached for wallet. Oh no, I forgot my purse in the car. Without thinking, Marcus said, I got it. He paid. Woman turned, grateful. Thank you so much. What's your name? Marcus. I'm Jennifer. Thank you, Marcus. This was very kind. Just coffee. Have a good day. As he walked out, his phone buzzed. Text from Victoria. Remember, kindness to strangers matters. You never know who you're helping or how it might change everything. Thanks for teaching me that. V. Marcus smiled. Sent back, thanks for proving I was right to buy that coffee. At his office, Marcus looked at the photo on his desk. Him and Lily at company family day. Happy, secure, thriving. 1 year ago, he'd spent his last $10 on a stranger's coffee. Minutes later, his face was on news accused of robbery. But that stranger, that CEO he'd helped without knowing who she was, had used her power not for profit, but for justice, had investigated, had proven his innocence, had given him a second chance, had transformed his life, all because of coffee. All because he'd been kind when he had nothing. All because character matters, even when, especially when, no one's watching. That evening, Lily asked, Dad, why did you buy that lady's coffee when we didn't have money? Because she needed help, and I could help. That's reason enough. Even if it costs you? Especially if it costs you. That's when kindness matters most, when it's hard, when you have to sacrifice. That's when it counts. And she remembered. She helped you back. She did. But Lily, I didn't buy that coffee expecting anything. I bought it because it was right. The fact that she helped me later, that was gift, bonus, but not the reason. So we should be kind even if no one helps us back? Exactly. We're kind because that's who we are, not because we expect a reward. But sometimes we do get rewarded. Sometimes. Sometimes the person you help is a CEO who saves your life. Sometimes they're just a stranger who says thanks. Sometimes they don't even notice. But you're kind anyway, because that's what good people do. I want to be good people. You already are, sweetheart. You already are. Marcus tucked Lily in that night, thinking about the year that had passed. From coffee shop to jail cell to CEO's office to head of security. From $8.32 in pocket to $95,000 salary. From one shift away from homelessness to stability and hope. All because of coffee. And the CEO who saw character when everyone else saw suspect. The world was unjust. Innocent people got accused. Good people struggled. Veterans came home to hardship. But sometimes kindness found kindness. Character recognized character. And strangers became saviors. That was the lesson. That was what mattered. Be kind. Even with your last dollar. Even to strangers. Even when no one's watching. Because you never know. That stranger might be the CEO who saves your life. Or you might be the stranger who saves hers. Either way, the coffee matters. The kindness counts. The character shows. And sometimes, just sometimes, the world rewards good people. Not always, but when it does, it changes everything.
A veteran single dad stood in line with $8.32, his last money until payday. The woman in front couldn't pay for her coffee. Card wasn't working. He paid, gave his last $10. Never learned her name, just knew she needed help. 15 minutes later, his face was on the news. Arrested for robbery he didn't commit. Evidence against him. Life falling apart. Daughter wondering why daddy was in jail. But that stranger, Victoria Chen, CEO worth $4.2 billion, saw the news, recognized him, knew something was wrong. Because the man who spent his last money on strangers' coffee doesn't rob banks. She investigated, spent 48 hours and hundreds of thousands proving his innocence, found the real thief, posted bail, cleared his name, then offered him job. Head of security, $95,000, day shift, full benefits. All because he bought coffee with money he didn't have. The lesson? Character matters, especially in small moments with strangers. That person whose coffee you buy might be the CEO who saves your life. That homeless person you help might be the angel testing humanity. That stranger you're kind to might be exactly who you need when everything falls apart. Marcus was kind when he had nothing. Victoria repaid that kindness with justice and opportunity. Because power used for good, not profit, changes lives. Because CEOs who remember coffee shop kindness are the ones worth working for. Because small gestures have massive impact. So this week, buy someone's coffee, help a stranger, be kind when you have nothing. Not because you'll get rewarded, though you might, but because that's who you are. That's what good people do. And you never know. That $10 coffee might be the best investment you ever make. It might be the kindness that saves you, the character that changes everything, the moment that proves good people still exist. Marcus bought coffee. Minutes later, his life fell apart. Then a stranger saved him. All because of coffee. All because of kindness. All because character matters. Even, especially, when no one's watching.
Thank you for watching this story. If it moved you, leave a heart in the comments and share what you thought. Let us know what themes or stories you'd like to hear next. We love creating narratives that resonate with you. Subscribe to Becca's Stories for more tales of justice, legacy, resilience, and love. We showcase the beautiful perspectives that emerge from life's changes, offering narratives of profound moral strength and unwavering character. And remember, be kind to strangers. Buy the coffee. Help without expecting reward, because that small gesture might be the thing that saves you, or saves them. Either way, it matters. Character always matters. See you in the next story.